Welcome to the city, Mastermind City. Hi, I'm Faye Chappell.
And I'm Stacey Maynard. Join us for a vibrant, inspiring, and uplifting master talk as we focus on how you can make a lasting impact on a global scale. Because the truth is, we're here because we want you to win.
So are you ready to surround yourself with success? Because you're in the right place. Welcome to the city. Well, we haven't really talked since Friday, right? So Friday, we had our Friday we had our mastermind dinner, which was fabulous. It was a lot of fun. And
One night in Paris.
Yeah, one night in Paris. It was just so much fun. And for those of you guys who couldn't make it, next month we are doing Tokyo. So hopefully you can join us there. But it started that morning a little differently, right, Stacey?
It did start that morning a little differently. So we had decided that we were going to do Hot Topics Monday and Wednesday here live, which we love. This is our happy place.
Yeah.
And then on Fridays, we decided that instead of doing it live like this, that we would do it on Clubhouse.
Right.
So Friday morning, we're going to do Hot Topics on Clubhouse. So not this past Friday, but the Friday before was our first one that we decided to hop on. And it was an interesting feel. And even then, it was interesting because we kind of hopped on and we had a few people join us, which was great. And obviously you're going to start small. It wasn't all about that.
No.
But you had said afterwards that it just didn't feel right.
Right.
And you were willing to hop off. We're done.
Yeah.
Not going back to Clubhouse. It was weird.
When I get that feeling and we teach it all the time, when you know, right? And we both loved Clubhouse. And I just was like, I'm not feeling this. I just don't want to do Clubhouse. It just doesn't feel like us. It doesn't feel like our brand. That's how I felt when we got off. And you said, no, let's wait another week and let's give it a shot. Right.
So we did, because I felt that, this one time, and again, we teach, make sure you're loyal to your platforms. You don't have to be everywhere. Understanding what works for you, your brand, and your business. So, but we still feel that trying new things as what we teach, we want to be able to make sure that people understand these different platforms to know what helps work for them. Yeah. So wanted to give it another shot to make sure.
Absolutely.
So a week later, we hop on Clubhouse and blah. It was just icky. It was a weird, not to put down Clubhouse.
No.
It just did not work for us. It was awkward. And again, we can show up and we're good. Turn the live button on anytime, any place. We're good.
Yeah.
It felt weird and I don't know. So
it felt forced. To me, it felt like I was forcing myself to be interactive. Whereas when we're on lives and we're interacting with the video, I'm good. I'm absolutely good. And we thought, here's the thing, you couldn't find two bigger fans of Clubhouse when it came out. Right?
Oh my God. We
loved it.
So
we
excited.
Were planning a lot of things around it. But it felt weird. It just didn't feel like our brand. Now, for those of you who are like, I love Clubhouse and I've made so much money on it and I've met all these great people. Awesome. That's your brand.
Yeah.
But us, it didn't fit.
And because it didn't fit, obviously from the week before when you felt awkward, and what was interesting was on Saturday, Faye came out and sent me an article that says, is Clubhouse dead? And it was interesting. So what this article said was that it was a fad during the height of COVID. So the height of quarantine. So it satisfied a need. Mm-hmm. But now, granted, the need is still there because we're still in quarantine and we're still in lockdown and COVID is still part of our lives.
Yes.
But somehow, I don't know. I don't know whether it was the feel of it. But I think with all of the other competitors, I don't think it can last. And my other challenge, I don't know. In the beginning, I kind of was very fascinated by their strategy of the slow rollout.
Right.
And the invitation only and only being on iOS, Apple devices versus Android. I'm not sure that was the right move in considering the amount of people that are moving off the platform, because you can't go, well, if you have an Apple, you can participate, but if you have Android, you can't.
And that's what I didn't like. That was the thing I didn't like from the start, because we had so many people that said, we want to join you, but we don't have iPhones. And, I don't like that. I like people being able to access however they need to access, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't inclusive.
Yeah.
Again, I thought it was a really interesting strategy. with their slow rollout. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, that's okay. The slow rollout I'm good with because they don't want to grow too fast. So they kind of
Right.
control the growth with now you have 2 invites, now you have 5 invites, now you
Right.
have 3 invites, and you can kind of bring people in. And it was an interesting strategy. But
And
I
now
think
I'm
with
sitting with like 11 invites and no one to send them to.
Well, exactly. And again, with Twitter doing spaces and now Facebook is going to have different rooms with audio only, I
Right.
think a lot of the platforms have realized that, well, maybe this is a possibility to adopt and incorporate into the platform
Right.
as opposed to having a different space to go.
And a lot easier for them, just like they all adopted stories from Snapchat, right? So
Exactly.
a lot easier for the big guns in the room to be able to say, "Oh, we'll just add this little blip into our stuff."
Yeah,
More so than Clubhouse being able to say, "Well, we'll add everything else in," right?
exactly.
It's interesting.
So,
Now, don't get us wrong. We're not saying that it's gonna die. We don't know. And a lot of people said Twitter won't last, and they said Twitter would die after, when everyone else was jumping on board and they didn't, expand their characters and all that stuff.
yeah.
Twitter's not going anywhere, I don't think.
Well,
Uh,
what did I do last night when I was watching the Oscars? Hopped on Twitter
Twitter,
immediately.
yeah, and I like
Because
Twitter more and more.
yeah,
The more inundated we get with social media, the more I like Twitter because it's just a bite-sized little chunk. So
yeah.
all the media platforms are different. So we're not saying it's Clubhouse is not going to be around. It's just not going to be around for us.
Well, and again, I think it's useful to again understand all the platforms,
Yeah,
understand your marketing strategy, understand your social media strategy, understand who you want to target, understand your niche, understand where they're hanging out. And if they're not hanging out where you are, then you may need to change. If they
right.
are, then you don't need to adopt different things. So
Yeah,
it also is a good feel for you because if you're uncomfortable, like if you're uncomfortable on Twitter, and your clients are on, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter,
right.
then and you're comfortable on Facebook and Instagram, great.
Just stay
For
there.
us, I'm always into new, so we wanted to try that.
Yeah,
We wanted to make sure that we experienced it so that we can, again, talk about it.
right.
But we realized that again, it could possibly be okay. However, our clients aren't there.
No.
The people that we hang out with in our community are not there, and we didn't feel comfortable there. So that's a 3-strike you're out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can work for other people. And I know lots of people who it's working amazing for.
It's working great. Some people have built entire businesses just
Yeah.
on Clubhouse, which is fantastic. So I can't say enough about. So any of you, don't come and treat us as, don't come and say you're haters on us because we aren't going to use it. It's just we're trying to understand you to understand the experience of being a brand and what our brand feels like in that environment. And we want to stay true to who our brand is, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the key because when you go off brand, it feels, it feels awkward. It feels weird. If you ask us to jump on, as Stacy said, every single day of the week lives, no problem. You can call us 5 minutes before and we're on. We don't need to script anything. We don't need to write anything out. We don't need to worry about what we look like. We're in. So saying that, we also are smart enough to know when it's not really our thing. And I'm not saying we're not going to ever be on Clubhouse because sure we'll be on Clubhouse. I'll listen. I'll jump in lots of times. And if anything changes, we'll be back. But right now, I think it would be way cooler if we just move our hot topics on Fridays to exactly what we're doing here. So that means Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we can be with you guys and talk about what's going on and what we think. But we can do it in an environment that we are comfortable with and that everyone who follows us is as well.
Exactly. So this particular stream is going out onto our YouTube channel and it's also going on to Faye's LinkedIn.
Right.
Which again is part of her community on LinkedIn. And as soon as I get LinkedIn Live, I'll put it on that.
That's right. So speaking of brand,
I believe we were.
So speaking of brand, I had an experience and I put it on Instagram on Thursday or Friday, I can't remember, because I was it was intriguing to me because I follow certain brands, and when I follow a brand, you have to have done something really, really well because I don't just follow anyone because, I don't want to follow something that's not of interest to me. So
But you're also very brand loyal.
I am.
If you do find that brand and you do start to follow them, you follow them.
I
So
follow
you're
them.
in, all in.
And I give them, and I push people to it. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I push people. I tell everyone how much I love this brand. So there is a bachelorette who I love, Jillian Harris, who's has a brand, and I love her stuff. I love everything she does. I love the consistency of her brand. I love how she reaches her followers. I love what she's like on her stories. She's one of those people that I enjoy watching, flipping through. Right. And she has this thing called Jilly Box, and it's a curated box of products that she sources locally in her BC, Vancouver area. And she created quite a following. And you can't get on this list to get this curated box because they're sold out all the time, thousands. And what she does is she, every time it comes out, she has a certain amount of extra ones. And if you're on her list, you might get an email that you can purchase it. So I tell everyone, because I love curated products, and I was like, this is cool. I'll never get an invite, but my name's on the list. So on Thursday, I'm driving up to the cottage to do my 8 loads of laundry. For those of you guys who follow me, it's because long story. Anyways, only place to go in lockdown. So I'm driving 2 hours, and I see, literally, I checked my email before I left, not for her stuff, just check my email. And then I see a notification come up that I got a code to get a box. So I'm excited.
Which is amazing.
It's never happened, right? I'm so excited. I'm like, awesome, because this will be fun. Because I really want to see what was more interesting to me was not really, all the stuff and everything. It was the experience. I wanted to know what it would be like to get the box in the mail, to open it up. I would have done the whole dog and pony show and put it on YouTube. I was going to say,
you'd go live on Instagram and you'd show
I would have shown you guys, right? I would have brought it and said, look what I got, guys, go to the list. Yeah. Anyways, so I get, and it's a special code, and I literally go into the cottage. I don't even unload the car because I saw it come up. So because I'm excited. So I open my laptop, I click it, and it says sold out. Now I've got a link. So I've got a code. So how could it be sold out? Right. I was one of and it's been literally, maybe, an hour or so, whatever. And since I got it. So I send them an email. I'm trying everything. I send them an email and I said, what's going on? I got the code. And they go, oh, you have to click right away because otherwise, it just sells out. Well, what's the point of the code? Right. And so I was thinking about how that made me feel for her brand.
But did it say in the email, did it give you any indication in the email that you need to click this right away? This code has gone to multiple people, anything like that? Or did you feel like that was your email, that was your in?
Well, I felt like if they sent you a code, within reason, wouldn't you think that you would have maybe, 24 hours or something? Because that first feeling was I'm not sitting in front of my computer all day waiting for this, right? That is, my life doesn't revolve around getting a box on that day.
No.
So that
yes, you would think that you would at least, because you got the email, that you're in.
Yeah, or they would say,
have to respond at some point.
You have, even if it said you have 4 hours or you have 6 hours or something. But so I assume they just sent thousands of these out. I don't even know. But when you get a code, you assume that's your code, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, exactly. You're in.
So
I have this code reserved for you. It's kind of like when you put something on hold at a store and you go to pick it up and it's like, well, no, we gave it to somebody else.
Right.
Like, wait, no, but that was mine.
Right.
Exactly. I had it on hold. You think that they would hold it for you.
It's kind of like here's the difference. I got a code, so you assume you're going in and grabbing it, right? Mm-hmm. When we had to order PlayStation 5 for the boys, you were in a line. Remember that line that goes across, you're waiting, but you don't have a code, so you might get there and it's sold out, right?
And they said right up front, even if you had it in your cart, you knew that it was very possible that because of the amount of people ahead of you, that it would no longer be available when you went to check out.
But you
went in eyes wide open.
You were selected because we won the lottery, you got an opportunity to buy it, and you got a code. So it was really interesting to me. It wasn't the disappointment of not having the box. It was the disappointment in the brand. I was so disappointed that that's how they rolled it out because I don't have an affinity for that brand anymore. That's how I felt. It was kind of like, it was a little slimy. You know what I mean? Like
A little
you
bait and switchy,
bait and
right?
switch.
Like
Yeah.
they said one thing, here's your code, you can now get it.
Yeah.
And then when you, like, again, you're not sitting at your computer. So again, we have 10 extra code, 10
Yeah.
extra boxes. We send it to 10 people. If those 10 don't respond within a certain amount of time, we go to the next people on the list.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
what
And
I
it
would
was
have
only
expected.
like, so, I mean, if it was 2 days or even 24 hours, I would get it. Right. But it wasn't. It was literally, I was driving on the highway. I got off the highway, push the button, and it's gone. Right. Like
That's crazy.
so for me, it wasn't the box. It was the feeling of, wow, that brand didn't deliver. And I was so invested in it. I was so
Right.
invested in it. Right. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, I don't really, and I've bought, things from her store for my daughter and stuff. So I loved all her stuff and what she did. And so at first I was like, okay, I'm not, and I sent them a note. I said, it's really very disappointing. And nobody ever responded. I said how disappointing it was. No one
Right.
responded, which again, surprised, because
Mhm.
I my expectation from that brand was different than how it was handled. Right. And maybe they don't agree with me, which is fine. And they have lots of happy people. But what they're miscalculating on, I think, is people like me who
Right.
that happened to them and they never came back to the brand. Right.
Exactly. So you'd think that there would be some sort of, oh, for people who got the code that weren't able to get the box,
Yeah.
here's our compensation. We're sending you one product. Or something,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Whatever.
Like something to make
Yeah.
you still feel loved. It's like they dangled a carrot and said,
Yeah.
no,
Exactly. So I just, for me, it's a big lesson for people in brand, right? So if don't do that. Don't do the, you're going to get this, and then you don't come through, right?
Right.
It's not cool. So either change your strategy, and people learn. Like we've done things too that we've changed our strategies as we go. And if we've changed things, if we change price, if we do something else, we always compensate the people that followed us and supported us, right?
Right.
So if to make sure that you don't, like, it's kind of like when somebody pays $1,000 or and all of a sudden it's free the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's happened. So I think it's a really good lesson for us and for everyone to be very cognizant of your brand and
Mhm.
what it looks like in the marketplace. And so now here's the dilemma, right? I used to send people because their stuff's beautiful, but I won't send anyone anymore because I'm kind of like I'm a little uncomfortable now because I'm like, well, I don't know what, like maybe the rest of the stuff that they ship out is like kind of like that. Right?
Well,
Like, I
your
don't
trust
know.
has gone down, right? And
Yeah.
it's a huge trust factor. You spend so much time. I mean, her brand leveraged the trust obviously much quicker. But again, you get to know somebody, but that trust is that ultimate place where they buy something. When there's an exchange and you ruin that trust, like you
Yeah.
didn't exchange money, but you exchanged information and you
And I
supported
literally
them and you
walked in
trusted
and
them.
I literally was the first thing I was going to do. That's how invested I was. I literally pulled up before I emptied my car. I pulled up
Exactly. So
pulled up
again,
my
you're
laptop.
excited. It's an emotional experience, but again, they ruined that trust. And with me, it's like you lied to me.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
would rather you stab me than
Yeah.
lie to me. Like
And
that's
you know what?
that's my whole
They
thing.
could come back and say, well, in the little fine print, but I'm not interested in, like, for me, it's like if they said, oh, it's first come and it's in the fine print and stuff, it's that doesn't make up for the feeling that you've put out there for a consumer, right?
Exactly. Well, especially since again, you got an email that said, hey, Faye Chapel, here's your code, go check out.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm in. I'm finally in. And like I said, it's like they dangled that carrot and then took it away at the last minute. And I don't like bait and switch.
No.
I like to be either invested and you deliver on what you say, or I'm not invested in, and that's good. But you're right.
The first thing I thought of, right after that, is the first thing I did was I messaged Stacy and Spencer. I said, let's do our own curated boxes. Let's do something that will delight people. Let's give them 24 hours to make sure they know, because sometimes it ends up in your junk. Sometimes you're doing other things. And let's do something cool. So watch out for that, because I think when you have an experience like that, that's how new products are created, right? When you have a bad experience with one, you want to make it better for somebody else. So stay tuned. We have some cool ideas to come.
Exactly. And what I love about that is, again, understanding the experience. So we understand how to make that experience better.
Right.
But I'm thinking back to like the old radio shows. I think, like, okay, we're going to give you, 5 minutes to, somebody give this person a call. And,
Yeah.
but what they do is they announce it publicly, right? So watch your inboxes. It's coming out at 12 or whatever. Then you could have at least had a little bit of a heads up.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they said, so here's the thing. They did say, watch, this is the date. Watch on Thursday, and sometime during the day, you might get an email, right? Cool. But like realistically, what do they want you to do? Sit at your computer for 24 hours? Like that's just weird, right? If they said 2:00, wait at 2:00, different story.
Exactly. Well, I'm sorry you had that experience. I know you were really excited about that box. I was excited to see what the products were in there.
Yeah, and it's a good learning though, right? Good brand learning.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us here in Mastermind City, but you don't have to say goodbye because there's other ways to join us.
We would love to have you as part of our community, so join us in mastermindcitycommunity.com so we can hang out together.